Shavua Tov, a gute Woche, and welcome to our program. Shabbos morning we read the Parsha of Lech Lecho, and Shabbos to Mincha we started the Parsha of Vayero. And the situation now is that everybody is worried about the war in Eretz Yisrael, and for good reason. The heart of every Jew is in Eretz Yisrael. Libi b'Mizrach. What's happening to our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, and what we can do to help them. And over the years, we heard from the Rebbe many directives as to what we can do. Over the years, in different in situations similar to this one, what the Rebbe said we can do. One of the main things that the Rebbe stressed is not to despair, not to give up, not to say, oy vey, what's happening, I'm giving up. Tracht gut wird sein gut. The Rebbe kept saying that. In a personal matter and in a general matter. Tracht gut, that the Rebbe is going to help, and have the betochen that he is going to help. The betochen that the Rebbe is going to make miracles and he is going to help Achenu B'nai Yisrael in Eretz HaKodesh. We say in our liturgy, Hu Elokeinu, Hu Avinu, he's our Father. Yes, there's something that we do not understand. There are things that we do not understand. But we know that he's our Father and he's a merciful Father, and that he will make sure that we are going to be victorious. So that is the very first thing. Not only that, the Rebbe stresses that the betochen in Almighty God, that we believe that he is going to help us, and he is going to do everything he can to help us, and we're going to be victorious, that solicits from above all the necessary ingredients for the success of the Milchomeh. So our betochen here is very important. The betochen will bring about the netzochen of the Milchomeh. Tracht gut wird sein gut. You will download, if you may, the netzochen for the Milchomeh. The Rebbe also says that if you want to know what you should do, to basic in all mivtzoim, starting from Avos Yisrael, love your neighbor as yourself, kipshute, everyone that we know, to do whatever we can to bring Jews together. The Rebbe also mentions, and we always talk about tefillin, and because it says, and they will see, the nations of the world will see that God's name is upon you, and they will fear you. Omer Rebbe Lezer HaGodel, Tanya, Omer Rebbe Lezer HaGodel. Rebbe Lezer HaGodel says, what are they going to see? Eilo tefillin shebereish, they will see the tefillin. And the Rebbe added that we should, not only the soldiers who fight should put on tefillin, of course, that would be the greatest, but any Jew in the world, because we are one body. The Rebbe also added, if we can work that the soldier who goes to fight should wear taliskotten, should wear tzitzis. And that is going to be a shmira for that particular soldier. The Rebbe says that. The Rebbe also speaks about saying 3 Perokim Tilim every day. Some say that you should say Kapitel Kuf Lamed. The Rebbe does not say that. The Rebbe does say that you should say 3 Perokim Tilim, any Perokim that you want, and you should include in the 3, or better yet, on top of the 3, Kapitel Kuf Nun, the last Kapitel in Tilim. Perhaps the reason the Rebbe doesn't say which Kapitel, and we don't know the reason, but maybe is that everyone should say the Kapitel, the Perokim in Tilim that they can best connect with. One connects with one Perik, one connects with another Perik. Everyone should choose 3 Perokim, and on top of that, if possible, part of that, the Rebbe asks that not only Kuf Nun should be one of the 3, better it should be B'nesav to the 3, in addition to the 3. We're getting to the story. People ask the Rebbe about a fast Maybe we should institute a fast day, an international fast day, L'Tevas Achenu B'nai Yisrael. The Rebbe was not happy with that. The Rebbe said a fast day has also negative connotations, it's difficult, whatever it is. The Rebbe suggested that we should give mozain, that the worth of shtei sudas, of 2 meals, and if we can, of 3 meals for tzedakah. And then that will be considered as if we are fasting. The tzedakah for 2 meals, or preferably 3 meals for tzedakah. The Rebbe spoke strongly about limud HaTorah, to learn Torah for the success of the war. Like the Gemara says about David and Yeov. David was learning Torah, Yeov was doing the Milchome. Yeov was successful in the Milchome because David was learning Torah. Also, if we can register every soldier in a Sefer Torah. That if we can register any soldier, we find his name and we register him in a Sefer Torah, whether the soldier knows about it or not is immaterial. If we register him in a Sefer Torah, we're doing him a personal favor. The Rebbe also spoke many times about gathering Elilim v'Yenkim, small children, and saying with them the 12 psukim, and saying with them Shema Yisrael, and so on. Because it says in the Posuk, Mipi Elilim v'Yenkim Yisada To'ez, you will establish a strength from the mouth of Elilim is babies and infants. Elilim v'Yenkim. From their mouths you will establish friends. Why? Lahashbis Eiv u'misnakim, to destroy the Eiv, the enemy, u'misnakim, and the one who is looking for revenge, exactly what is happening now. The Rebbe asked, we should also ask for Mashiach. Mashiach is the remedy for everything, including for the Milchome. Mashiach comes immediately. Baruch Hashem, we're saved. We should ask, Tekevu miyad mamish. The Rebbe asks for Simcha. Now, Simcha is not easy. It's not that somebody is going to decide. It says that you can force yourself to do anything, but you can't force yourself to be with Simcha. You want to learn, but you know that you have to learn, but you don't want to, so you can force yourself. You can learn even if you don't want to. You can daven even if you want to. You can give tzedakah even if you don't want to. You can force yourself. You can't force yourself for Simcha. Simcha is a toy in a nefesh. It's a state of mind. The soul has to be happy. So therefore, and it doesn't happen by a push button. Even if you'll get on the table and you're going to dance on the table, if it's not real, it's haleless, it's frivolous, it's not worth anything. As a matter of fact, there's so many words in Chassidus when you do that without really meaning. And there's another point that they say. Some people are saying that we saw great miracles. No, we saw great miracles. Yeshuvim that were frum, and so on. And everybody that we saw great miracles. And the question comes at you, maybe from Chachmi Lishanke, and he says, miracles? There could have been a greater miracle. That it shouldn't have happened at all. But that's not a question for us to ask. This question we do not have a right to ask, because that is up to Almighty God Himself. Now we're questioning God's ways. So what we have to do, Rabbi say, there were miracles. They tell the story when they would ask the Rebbe Yitzchak of Barditchev how he is. And he would answer, Heidul Hashem kitev ki leilam chasdei. A pasuk in Tehillim. Heidul Hashem for the past, kitev for the present, ki leilam chasdei for the future. There were miracles at Beinu Shalom. We thank you so much for the miracles that you have performed. And for the small miracles, small, if you can say that a few people got out. But we're asking Kilei Lom Chasdei, we need more miracles. We need more miracles. We have to win the war completely and get all the terrorists out and do everything we need for the Netzochen of Milchoma. The Rebbe also asked that we should say Hareini mikabel alai before davening. Hareini mikabel alai mitzvah sasei shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamecha. which means we are accepting Havas Yisrael on ourselves. Easier said than done, but that is what the Rebbe is asking for. And we should say the psukim at the end of Davnan, Al Tila Mipachat Pisem, which have to do with this situation. Do not be afraid of them. Utsaitso Vesufa, let them talk, it will be destroyed. Kimonu Keil, and Al Tilam, and so on. And Ach Tzadikim Yedu L'Shmechom. Rabbi say, Rabbi also mentioned that we're getting to the story. What the Rabbonim should do. Harov will ask, every person knows Harov, or if the Rav is not going to ask you, maybe bring it to his attention. He speaks every Shabbos. What should be the sermon, so to speak, about? Now, says the Rebbe, the sermon should be what a Jew can do to help Eretz Yisrael. In any form, in saying Tilim, in giving Tzedakah, whatever the Jew... and then the Rebbe says, you come to a Rav, and you tell him all of this, and we're getting to the story. And the Rav says, wait a minute, I am going to say that they should say Tilim, and you should give Tzedakah, and you should, the Rebbe also spoke about doing Miftzah Mezuzah as much as you can. They will think that I'm old-fashioned, that I'm a Rav, that I'm a battler, and I do not know what's happening in this world. They are talking about terrorists, so I'm saying, you know what the answer to a terrorist is? You say Tilim. It doesn't fit. I went to public school, excuse me, and I went to college, and I have an academic degree, rabbi doctor, so I'm going to talk like an old-fashioned man that they'll think I'm from a Meshav Skenim. The Rebbe mentions all this. And the Rebbe says he forgets that he was hired for the spirituality. All the other things, the Balabatim can know themselves. They can go online and they know all the politics that he thinks he's going to tell them, they already know. They're looking for him for leadership in the spiritual sense. Exactly Tilim, exactly Tzedakah, and so on, all the things that the Rebbe mentioned. And the story, as we always say, we will return to all of this after the story. And the customary story today is also about Emunah in Almighty God. We remember the 6-Day War. One of the heroes of the 6-Day War, and with the great miracles, was Arik Sharon. Unfortunately, in September of that year, in 1967, Arik Sharon lost a son, right after the war. And the Rebbe writes a letter to him. And the Rebbe writes to him, I think the letter is dated Yud Gimel Tishrei, which means the Rebbe found time before Rosh Hashanah, between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, to write him the letter. That he was sitting Shiva for a son. And the Rebbe says, there's something you can ask. You can ask a question here. What happened? In the time of war, when you needed miracles, the miracles happened. And the Rebbe says, and you were one of the people that was responsible for the great victory that our people had. And now, in times of peace, this is what happened. Lost a son, a child. And the Rebbe answers him that we do not have the tools to question God, because we're only human. And in the best of cases, even we're the most genius. We're only human. And with a human mind, to question God, it doesn't work. Why? Because he's infinitely smarter and knows more than us. The Rebbe says, if a child would question a Chocham Godel, it wouldn't make any sense. How can a child understand a great scholar? And the Rebbe says it's not a complete moshel, because the distance between a child and a great scholar is only relative. How many times smarter is the scholar? 5 times smarter, 10 times smarter, but he is not infinite. The scholar does not have infinite understanding and infinite smarts. He's limited. But here we are talking about Melech Malchem Melochem HaKodesh Baruch Hu. He is infinite and we are finite. So how can we possibly question what he does? And this is the answer to what's happening now. That we do not have the tools to question. That even brings the Holocaust. He can ask a bigger question. How come that happened? And with all the answers is that we as human beings cannot understand that. So therefore we have to do what Almighty God says to us we have to do. And leave the rest to Him, and He will do Him. He delivered in the past, He will deliver again. Tracht gut, wird sein gut, Gesundheit und Fröhlichkeit, for all Achenu b'nei Yisrael, Gesundheit und Fröhlichkeit, Tekef umiyad mamish. It's Pastor's Lech Lecho. Concerning Lech Lecho, Vayemer Hashem el Abraham, Almighty God spoke to Avraham Avinu, our forefather, and He said to him, Lech Lecho me'altzecho, we all know that pasuk. You should leave. Me'altzecho is your land, your birthplace. The basic question, Almighty God could have said to him, Lech lecho el ha'oretz asher areko. Go to the land that I'm going to tell you. Why all the details? Technically, it would have been enough, and Avraham Avinu would have listened. So why did He have to tell him, you should leave? Moreover, there'll come a Jew, maybe again, our friend from Chachmi Lizhanke, and they are Jews like that, and he's going to say, what do I have to know all the details for? I'm not moving any place. I live in my community. I mind my own business. Why do I have to know all of this? You want to tell me, Almighty God told him to go to Eretz Yisrael. Why all the details? Says the Rebbe, to this Jew and to everyone, that this is a teaching, Maisi Ovesim Elabonim. Whatever it says about Avraham Avinu is about us. And Almighty God here is not only talking to Avraham Avinu, Mr. whoever you are from Chachmei Lizhanke, He's talking to you. To me, yes, He's talking to you. To every person, to every man, to every woman, to every child. And He says, this is the mission. The mission of Avraham Avinu is the mission of the Jew throughout the generations. And the Rebbe says to the Jew, Lech lecho, get out of your own comfort zone. From which comfort zone you should get out? Me'altzecho. Altzecho is altzius, earthliness. Get out of your own earthliness. This is what I want. Eretz is chayfetz, I like this and I like that. Get out of your own earthliness. Miladetecho. Miladetecho are those that are acquired. Tendencies that are acquired. Ways of life that are acquired. Get out of those. Leave those behind. In my father's house they did this, they did it that way. In my father's house they did it that way. In my father's house they did it that way. You have to get out all of this, and you have to get yourself in a higher plateau. Why? You have a mission in life. The mission in life is to make this world a better place. Every single person. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out on shlichus. But because the Rebbe says that every Jew has a shlichus. Wherever you're going to go, even if you don't go out, even if you stay in your own community, you have a shlichus. And Avraham Avinu started the shlichus. He started the shlichus on the way to Matan Torah. Or it says more in Chassidus, on the way to Moshiach. Avraham Avinu started. Lech lecho is a lotion of Moshiach. Kulam lotion of Moshiach. The Medrash says that. But that's a separate story. So therefore, the mission of Avraham Avinu is the mission of the Jew. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your tendencies and do what Almighty God wants you to do. Go out of your place and go on Mivtzat Film is not your tendencies. My father never did it, he will say. My grandfather didn't even know what a tank is. My father didn't know what a tank is. The Rebbe once said that. They asked him a question. I'm older with no tanks. So the Rebbe said the grandfather also didn't drink juice in the morning. It was a different world. Now there is a need for that. So therefore, to every Jew, you should know you live in the last generation of Golus and the first generation of Moshiach, and they are pachim ktanim, small vessels that are still left of the Golus. And you can take care of those vessels, and you can prepare yourself and your surroundings for the coming of Moshiach. And it's a good deal for you. How do we know that? Let's look what Rashi says. Lech lecho, Rashi says, lehano oscho. It's for you, Anor, it's for your It's for your benefit. Uletevoscho. It's for your own personal goodness. Not only that, Almighty God says, and I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to make you into a great nation. And I'm going to bless you. Rashi says, B'moment, I'm going to give you a lot of money. A Jew will come and he's going to say, I don't know how to say it, but maybe I would like people to know who I am. Or some people want to put it in a nice way. I want people to know who my father was, who my family was. Says the Pasuk, V'agad lo shmecha, I'll give you that too. If you want that little bit of publicity, people should know, I will take care of that. You just do what I want, says Almighty God. And then you'll get everything, and that's in this world. Especially what you're going to get in the world to come. So therefore, it's a wonderful, wonderful deal for each and every single person. And the story of Avraham Avinu is the story of every Jew, including everyone, excluding no one. And we find the story. So this is what we should do all together, especially now in the Matzav of Eretz Yisrael. We know that with every good deed, and the Rebbe keeps talking about the Rambam, that we should visualize as if the world is shokul, the world is even. Any good deed that we are going to do, we're going to go out and put tefillin on a Jew. We tip the scale to the right way, to the great victory of our forces for all of us. So therefore, especially in this generation, every miftzah, every mitzvah, every deed is important to bring about in Yot Hashem the great victory for Israel, and bring about in Yot Hashem the coming of Mashiach speedily in our very, very own days. Ubagolo didanu v'simcho v'tuv levov u'v'teva nira ve'aniglo l'mata me'asarot fochim u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim v'teikef u'miyad Mamesh.